Good evening. I think I have this set up right, and then when I go live, it's too high again. I don't know if I'm shrinking or what. So we'll go down a little bit lower. It's just bizarre. Every night I think I'm in the right spot, and then I'm not. So I'll wait for a few folks, maybe they'll join us live. Yes, for our third night. See if anyone pops on with us. Maybe just me and myself and I tonight. That's good too. So we'll see if anyone pops on live. I guess. Oh, there we go. Hi Sherry, good to see you. Okay, let's get started. So welcome to night 3 of Feeling Fine, 9 towards Feeling Fine. This is all about giving you tools and tricks of the trade to balance your nervous system. I don't think I ever explained why I decided to do this. Well, some of you know that, and I've been, not recently, and a couple years ago I was diagnosed with PTSD. And just this last, into the fall, into the winter, for some reason, who knows, I guess those layers decided to come up. I've been struggling that much more and dealing with some pretty rough issues, not outside, but within. So I found that I started to really search for ways to calm my nervous system down. And as I was searching, I was thinking, I think other people might really find this helpful. So that's why I decided to do this series, 9 towards Feeling Fine. And I'm going to give you 9, actually there's more than 9, because each evening, sometimes I give you 2 or 3. But each time I do these lives, I hopefully give you enough tricks and tips and techniques that you can start to create your own protocol, your own practice. Because as I've said many, many times, your nervous system requires, ideally daily, but it would be best if it was on the course of most days. Again, like I've said every night, just like you create a routine for your cleanliness, you brush your teeth, you wash your hair, you have showers, you eat as healthy as you can, you exercise when you can. Just like all of those self-care practices, this is got to be bumped right up to the top. Because without a balanced nervous system, you can't digest your food the way you should. Your exercise is going to be hampered because you're going to have a higher heart rate. You're going to have potentially breathing issues. All right? So tonight's session will also be a group treatment, which I've never tried. I've tried group treatments before, but this particular technique I've never done as a group that we're going to do at the end. I've done it with my son distance, done it with my sister distance, and I've done it with a few other people distance, remotely. And it worked great. So I'm hoping it's going to work as a group. So as always, we'll do a little waver here. And I do realize last night my little charts were out of center. I'm going to really try to be centered today. And as I've been doing, I will post these little charts or these pictures, whatever. I'll post them in the comments after each video. So if you'd like to, you could print them off and you could make your own little nervous system balancing manual. How about that? You have the video, but it'd be nice maybe to make a little manual so you can follow along with the videos again. All right, once again, let's go over, I'm going to get my glasses on. Let's go over some reasons or symptoms why your nervous system can be dysregulated. Am I centered? I'm going to check here. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. So, I try to pick up a different one each night, but a lot of them are saying the same thing. Some symptoms of dysregulated nervous system is you can be dealing with anxiety and panic, as well as depression. You can be dealing with sleep issues. And one of the main reasons why I decided to do this talk, this series of talks, is that I've been regularly being woken up between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning with my heart pounding out of my chest. Why 3 to 4 o'clock? Because that's when you get a boost of cortisol. And cortisol is what you pump when your nervous system is not balanced. And it can create a lot of problems. Sleep happens to be one of them. So when your nervous system is dysregulated, you might get woken up in the middle of the night and have the monkey brain and can't get back to sleep, or you can't get to sleep. Sometimes a dysregulated nervous system will create inappropriate behavior. You may have outbursts, some anger outbursts that aren't normally what you would typically do. You're going to experience exhaustion, poor concentration and attention, and as I said, sometimes you can be very irritable. I find with my nervous system that's dysregulated right now, but it's getting better, I find that I'm just feeling agitated, and that agitation is there almost all the time. And the other big thing that I found with my dysregulated nervous system, a lot of people know I deal with weight issues, and recently my sister, my aunt, and I went on a little challenge, January 1st. My aunt and I gave up all junk, sweets, sugar, anything. We ate clean for about, I stayed on it for, well, I'm still on it, but I didn't weigh myself till about 6 weeks. My sister lost 6 pounds, my aunt lost 4, and I gained 2. What's with that? What's with that? And I exercise a lot. What is that? Cortisol. Cortisol. And having a dysregulated nervous system where I'm we'll talk about the polyvagal theory in nights to come, but it's when you're in that dorsal vagal level where you're stuck in that fight, flight, freeze. And at that particular level, you can't release body fat. It's just not going to go. Your cells just hold on to it for dear life. You're so inflamed that you actually gain weight, even though I was eating super clean for the last, and I still am. Anyway, that's why I decided to really dig deep and get into this. So what is tonight? Tonight is grounding. Also, we're going to do some self-techniques for your balancing your nervous system. And as I mentioned, I'm going to do a group therapy session, distance, to balance your nervous system. Some of you that come to my clinic as my patients have experienced this in person. And I'm hope it's going to work as a group. We'll see. All right. So again, what are we talking about the nervous system? And I understand that this is not great, but again, this picture, make sure I'm centered. It's hard for you to see, but I will post it that you can print it off if you want. But a lot of you know it. Your nervous system, it's called your autonomic nervous system, is made up of 2 sections. Your parasympathetic, right here in the blue, and your sympathetic nervous system. Your parasympathetic system is your rest and digest system. It's the system that calms you down. Your sympathetic nervous system is the system that you use for survival. That is your fight, flight, freeze. It gets you up and going when you need to go, and you need to go fast, and you need to go right now. That's when you activate your sympathetic nervous system. Unfortunately, most of us, through trauma, past traumas, through a lot of stressors in our lives, we get that surge of sympa, and we get to the point that we stay there, and we don't come back down. And that's when our nervous system is dysregulated. So some of the symptoms that you can see from, I want to make sure that I'm in the center. It's kind of hard to peek around here. I think I'm in the center. Here we go. So the sympathetic nervous system, when you're having a response, your heart beats faster, your breath is fast and shallow. You often do what's called a chest breath. Your pupils of your eyes expand. You're making you very sensitive to light. Your gut becomes inactive, difficult to digest, meaning you could get constipated and or you could get diarrhea just out of the blue. You know, even if you don't have a food intolerance, you can have diarrhea just from being in sympathetic overdrive. Your blood rushes to your skeletal muscles and away from your brain, make it hard to think clearly, giving you that brain fog. Hormones rush through your body, making you feel anxious. That's the cortisol. And it expends your energy, so you get very tired and listless. Parasympathetic nervous system, on the other hand, calms you down, prepares you to rest, think, and restore. Your heart beats in a slow, rhythmic pattern when you're in para. Your breath is full and slow. Your pupils of your eyes constrict. Your gut is active, helping you digest and absorb your nutrients from your food. That's another thing about people who have trouble with weight gain. They are not absorbing their nutrients because their gut is so if they're in sympathetic. Increased flow to the gut, lungs, and the brain. Your hormones rush in, but they lift your mood and help you relax. And when you're in the parasympathetic nervous system, it conserves your energy. Yeah. Now, I posted this picture and I found this quite comical. Yeah, the snake would drive me into any sympathetic nervous system. But when you have a balance between the two, the para and the sympa, the para being the rest and digest, and the sympathetic being the fight or flight, when you have a balance, you are in what's called I just want to check to make sure. I better back up a little bit so you can see it. You are in what's called homeostasis. And homeostasis is a dynamic balance between the two branches. It's very rare that you're going to stay balanced all the time, but the key is when you pop out of your balance and you have to go into sympathetic for whatever reason, is that you return to that balanced state. That's the key. That's a healthy, regulated nervous system. The problem is when we get up there and we stay and we stay and we stay and we stay, and then we start to get all those symptoms. All right, back to grounding. What are the benefits of grounding? There are so many benefits. I hope you can see this. Yeah. So, the benefits of grounding, ideally barefoot. When you're grounding that way, we're going to tell you other ways to ground because we are here in Canada. We are here in Nova Scotia, and it is chilly out there, and there's lots of snow. I know I see people on the internet walking barefoot in the snow, but now I have been known to walk barefoot on the beach in the winter. Let's just make sure that you can see this. Especially after I had to have CT scans or x-rays or whatever, because I want to dispel that radiation that is put in my body by those. So anytime, and I guess it's now 10 years ago, 10 years ago I had cancer. Whew, I can't believe it, that's been a long time. So when I had cancer, I had to have regular CT scans to make sure that it wasn't spreading through my body. So there's a lot of radiation with that. So every time, even in February, I would leave the hospital and I would come to Frida's Beach. Hopefully it wasn't snow covered. Often beaches aren't. And I would take my shoes and socks off and I would walk barefoot. And yes, the sand was cold, but it wasn't unbearable. And that would release the radiation, draw the radiation out of my body, and it would ground me big time. So the benefits of grounding barefoot, walking barefoot neutralizes free radicals, improves your blood circulation, reduces inflammation, improves sleep, helps you manage your pain, reduces stress, improves your immunity, and protects your body from the effects of electromagnetic fields that are all around us. Yes, EMFs are everywhere. So other ways that you can ground is you can, in the winter, you can go forest bathing. This is my very wonderful husband right here, walking Graves Island. We haven't walked it in a while because it's probably icy, but we will get back to it. And we adore forest bathing. It's just, when you're in amongst those trees, the groundedness that you feel is just incredible. And this was him last year when we were in Dominican. And I've shared this story with a lot of people, and it still blows my mind that this happened. So last year we spent 2 wonderful weeks in Dominican, and we walked that beach constantly. Our biggest decision was, do we go right or do we go left? And I believe that that was a big part of the 2 weeks that I had zero pain. I ate whatever I wanted to eat. I even had ice cream for breakfast. Yes, I did. Guess what? I came back and I lost 2 pounds. What's with that? It's the grounding and it's the no stress. It's, well, you know, we still have stressful times, but it was the ability to not react to that stress because we didn't have a lot of decisions to make. We were able to ground on a daily basis. We were able to really keep our minds nice and calm. Okay, so what are some things that you can do? So one thing you can do, and again, I know it's February and there's snow on the ground, so you might not want to do this yet, but this picture was taken, I believe in the spring, or yeah, I think this, well, we definitely don't have leaves on the trees, spring or falls, and it was chilly, but I was barefoot out there, and yes, tree huggers, yes, that grounds you. Hugging a tree, touching a tree, even if you have boots on, but ideally barefoot, will help you ground. Or you can use this method in your home. And you would go to your faucet, your house is grounded. So as you wash your hands, you grab the faucet as the water rushes through your hands, and because your house is grounded, this in effect will ground you. All right, so those are a couple methods you can do right now. What does grounding feel like? What does it feel like? Well, first of all, it feels very calming. You don't have your energy up here. your energy is down through your feet. And when we do the techniques that we're going to do tonight, I'm going to get you to stand up and hopefully feel a difference. Now, many people that I do this in clinic here, when I get them to stand up, I said, do you feel heavy in your feet? And you go, whoa, do I ever feel like I got concrete blocks on my feet? That's groundedness. And since we're not in that very often, it's quite, whoa, daunting. People go, whoa, oh, this doesn't feel weird. This feels really weird because you're not used to it. But it's actually the healthy way that we need to feel. So, you can also use essential oils. All right, you can use any tree oils. This is Northern Lights Black Spruce. This is pine. Again, as I mentioned last night, you want to be careful of the oils you use, that you don't want to get ones that are inundated with chemicals, because then your body just has to deal with all those chemicals. And this is my absolute favorite. This is Valor. This is the one that, every time I smell that, I just sink into heaviness. And I'm going to put that on my feet right now to make sure that I stay grounded as I'm doing this talk. And a lot of you have heard me do this talk, or tell you this story, but years ago when I was down traveling to visit my brother in Virginia Beach, and of course I always travel with my Valor and my Peace and Calming, so I had it on me, both of those oils on me. I actually wear this one as a perfume because I just adore it. It just smells amazing, and it grounds me. And I don't go in that x-ray thing at the airport because I've had so many CT scans. I don't need any more radiation in me. So I always have to say, sorry, you're going to have to frisk me. So the lady was a little bit upset with me that she had to do that. So she was doing her thing, and she kept smelling me. I thought that was a little odd, but anyway, she did. And so then she finished, and I left and was walking down the hall. And then all of a sudden I heard someone yelling behind me, hey lady, hey lady, hey lady. And I turned around and it was her, and I went, uh-oh, I did something wrong, oh good. But no, not at all. She said to me, she said, what is it that you have on? And I said, I don't know what you mean. She said, that smell, it's so amazing. I said, oh, it's Young Living essential oils, and it's Valor and Peace and Calming. She said, I have to get some. I have to get some. And I said, okay, I'll tell you where to get it, youngliving.com, whatever. I said, why? And she said, because when I came in today, I was pretty agitated. I wasn't a happy camper. I got called in. I can't remember what the story was. She said, but after doing that security check on you and smelling those oils, I feel very happy and calm. I was like, yes, yes. So that's why I never leave home without my Valor. Yes, sirree. And I can actually feel it right now as I'm sinking into my feet. Now, another thing that you can use, I just realized I hadn't hauled it out, but I see it right there because it's usually quite handy for me. You've heard of grounding mats, or maybe you haven't. And this is a grounding mat, and it's a very long cord. And what you do with a grounding mat is you take the little plug, this right here, that little plug, and you plug that in to your socket, not the part that's the electrical part, the ground part, the hole, that's the little hole that's below the two prongs. That goes into the ground of your house. And then you stand on it, stand on this pad, and I have this in my clinic, so if for whatever reason I'm struggling to get grounded, or if I have patients that are struggling to get grounded, I'll just get them to stand on it for a little while. And it's quite effective. There was even a time that I purchased grounding sheets, and we slept on them. And that really made a difference for me. After a while, because of use, they just ran out. They were gone. They were just basically threadbare. So I haven't bought those again because I haven't really felt the need. So those are some things that you can get to help you ground as well. Now, how to get grounded, especially if you're struggling, like in a moment that right now you're struggling, and maybe not right this second, but in your life there's a particular time that you're really stuck and you're struggling. So how you can get grounded in that moment, you're going to place both feet flat on the floor, either stand up or sit up straight in your chair that's supporting you. Feel you can actually try this with me if you want. I'm going to kick my slippers off so I'm bare feet because I want to be bare feet. Feel your feet touching the floor. Inhale slowly, counting to 5. Here we go. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do that again. Breathe in and exhale. And you can repeat it numerous times. Then if you're still not feeling in your body or solid, look around you. Say out loud things that you see. I see the tuning forks, I see the crystal balls, singing balls, I see my treatment table, I see my desk, I see the oils. 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you can feel, and that doesn't mean I feel sad, glad. That means I feel my shirt on my body, I feel my feet touching the carpet, that kind of thing, tactile things. And 2 things you smell. All right, so 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you feel, 2 things you smell. And that'll just bring you to the present moment, which is always grounding. So that's one thing you can do if you're in that panic situation and you feel, I need something right now. Another one that I found very helpful is, again, this is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's a little bit of a different take on the one that I just shared with you. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel. Again, it's not I feel sad, glad, or whatever. It's 4 things that you can tactile feel. 3 things that I can hear, 2 things that I can smell, and 1 thing that I can taste. Now, one thing that you can do is if you don't have to actually taste it, but you just think of something that you can taste. All right? And it's just, again, it's to stop the monkey brain. It's to bring yourself into a nice, centered, present moment. And this is the same thing, but I thought, again, after using the hand is sometimes a nice way to remember it. So, 5 things that I can see, 4 things that I can feel, 3 things that I can hear, 2 things that I can smell, and 1 thing that I can taste. All right, so you're going 5 fingers, 5 things I see, down to 4 I feel, 3 I feel, 2 my hands don't work that well, 2 that I can smell, and 1 that I can taste. All right, that might help you remember it a little bit more. That's another thing that you can do in the moment. You're at the grocery line or in the bank line, and all of a sudden you start to feel anxiousness and even a panic state. Just stop, take a breath, use your hand. 5 things that I see. 4 things that I feel. My shirt, my jacket, my shoes. 3 things that I smell. I smell this. 2 things that I can hear. And 1 thing that I can taste. Again, brings you into the moment. All right, here we go. Let's try an actual grounding method. So I'm going to get you to stand up wherever you are. I'll try to move back here. Now, imagine where you are. Let's see if I can move this table over a bit more. Oh, that's not going to move. My wheels aren't activated. I'll just stand here. So, wherever you are. So if you're in an apartment building and you're on the 4th floor, you have to use your imagination a little differently. I'm in my basement. I'm in my treatment room, and my basement is in the ground. So I'm already in Mother Earth, even though there's concrete between me and Mother Earth. So I don't have to imagine going very far. So you guys out there that have no basements, you don't have to go very far. But those of you that are in the 3rd floor, the 5th floor, the 6th floor, the 10th floor, whatever, all you're going to get you to do is close your eyes, grow roots out of your feet, and imagine those roots going all the way down to the center of the earth. Just like that. Imagine that. Imagine those roots going down to the center of the earth. Feel yourself getting heavier into the floor. Don't stop until you're there. Okay, I'm connected to Mother Earth and I just felt that groundedness. You're going to feel heavier into your feet. And hopefully by the end of tonight you're going to feel even heavier into your feet. Fingers crossed. Okay, now we need to lock this feeling in. So you're going to do 3 taps. You're going to tap on the crown of your head, and that brings things into, what's it called? It brings your awareness to the issue, whatever your issue is that took you out of being groundedness. So I'm just going to talk you through it, and then we'll actually do it. Then you're going to tap your heart, and that brings it into the physical, into your physical body. And then you're going to tap your belly button or your gut, and that brings it into your belief system. Okay? So we're going to take our hand like so, like a little claw, because you need to basically be on top of both. You need to spread your hand out so that you're on the right hemisphere of the brain and the left hemisphere of the brain. Okay, so once again, we've grown our roots down to the center of the earth. And now we're going to take our hand to the top of our head and we're going to tap. And how long do you tap? Until you take a spontaneous breath, or at least 2 full deep breaths. This is bringing your awareness to whatever issue took you into ungroundedness. And now that you are grounded, you're bringing yourself into that awareness. Now we're going to go to the heart. And again, we're going to tap until we take a spontaneous breath, or at least 2 breaths. And this is bringing that issue into the physical body. Now that you've helped that issue that took you ungrounded, now you're grounded, so you've alleviated that issue, and we're bringing it into the physical. And then we're taking it down to over our belly button. And this is now, again, you tap until you get a couple breaths, or a spontaneous breath like that. Whew. And that is, again, bringing you into your belief system. Okay, I gotta lower my table for the next thing. Okay, so this one, it's best that you lie down. So I'll give you a few seconds to lie down. Let me talk you through it. And then we'll get you lie down. So this is the actual self nervous system balancing. This is what I'm going to talk you through. And I'll post this picture so you have something to refer to. But your hands are going to go like this. Thumb and baby finger. Okay? We're going to lie down now. I don't know if you can see me. But you don't need to see me. I'll talk you through it. Now, you're touching your thumb to your baby finger. You take your right hand, and I'm using my real right hand. Right hand, cross it over your left. Okay? We good so far? We're lying down. Our thumb and baby finger are touching. We've taken our right hand and crossed it over our left. Now you're going to point your toes, plantar flex your feet, point your toes, curl your toes, but not so much that you get cramps in your feet. If you get a cramp, just back off. Now, you're going to close your eyes, but keeping your eyes closed, you're going to look up to your forehead with keeping your eyes closed. So eyes look up even though your eyes are closed. And tongue on the roof of your mouth. Okay? Now hold that position until you take a spontaneous breath. There's my breath. I just balanced. And if you don't take a spontaneous breath, you're probably thinking about it too much. Hold it for, 2 to 3 good breaths. Eyes look up to the forehead even though they're closed. Tongue on the roof of your mouth. Right arm crossed over left. Toes are pointed. Baby finger touching your thumb. Good. Now while you're lying there, I'm going to get you to tap the top of your head. Couple breaths. And then tap your heart. Couple breaths. And then tap your belly button. Your gut. Couple breaths. Okay. Going to roll over and get you to stand up. And notice if you feel a little heavier into your feet. Whoa. Whoa. That's not dizziness, that's groundedness. I wasn't expecting that. That was kind of fun. All right. Hopefully you found yourself a little more grounded. There you go. Because grounding is so important. Without being grounded, we cannot balance our nervous system. It just won't happen. We've got to be grounded. And yes, there are times that we come out of being grounded. But the key is to recognize it when you're not grounded and get yourself grounded again. And now you have some tools to do that. Okie dokie. Let me get a drink of water, because we are going to do a little group therapy now. Okay. So, I'll get you to lie back down again. And I am going to do a treatment on you, remotely, obviously. And this will be the nervous system balancing technique that I do in clinic. As I said, I've done it remotely on my son and my sister and a few other people, and it worked. But I've never done it as a group. But there's always a first time, eh? So I'm going to collect your energy, and I'll talk through it as I do it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect to each of your sympathetic ganglion. Ganglion are nerve centers. And I'm going to balance them from T1 to T5. And then I'm going to balance your frontal lobe of your brain. And then I'm going to do what's called a CV4, which is a boost of the immune system. And then I'm going to treat your vagus nerve. All right, we'll do more on vagus nerve tomorrow night. Okay, is everybody lay down and relax? Just close your eyes and connect to me. Connect to me. Just sort of welcome me in. And here I go. I'm going to bring everybody's energy that's watching tonight and who might be watching in the future. All right. And I've connected to you all. And I'm just waiting till I feel everybody's energy in my hand. And I'm collectively going to treat you as a group. There. Okay. We've all met in the quantum field, and I've now got you in my hands. So I'm starting with T1, and I've got my fingers on each of the ganglion. There's 2 of them on either side of the thoracic vertebrae 1. Those ganglions sit right in front of the rib heads of the thoracic level number 1. So I'm going to balance those. And I'm balancing them now. And then I get a balance point. And then I get a still point. And then we move on to T2. And this one's unbalanced as well. And I'm going to balance it. There's the balance point and the still point. Now we move on to T3. And we're balancing them. You may not feel anything out there. And if you do, that's great. But if you don't, that's normal too. There's my balance point and there's my still point. Now T4. So far, all 4 pairs of ganglion have been unbalanced. Now, eventually we want to get to the point that those do stay balanced. There's the still point, and last but not least, T5. There we go. Now I'm going to move to everybody's frontal lobe of their brain, and I'm going to balance that frontal lobe between the right and left hemisphere of the brain. Just getting that nice and balanced. So right now we're working towards balance. There's the balance point. And I'll wait till I get a still point. And there's the still point. Now I'm going to go to the 4th ventricle of your brain. I'm thinking, how was she doing that? Yeah, sometimes I don't know myself. So anyway, this is all through quantum physics. That's why it's how it's explained. But don't ask me to explain it. I am on your 4th ventricle of your brain, and as that 4th ventricle expands, I'm restricting it. And this is going to boost the potency and the vitality of your cerebral spinal fluid. That's where it's housed in your body. It's housed in a bunch of places, your lateral ventricles and your 4th ventricle, your 3rd ventricle. Anyway, I'm balancing it there. It's going through balancing right now. We'll soon have a balance point. And what your cerebral spinal fluid does is it bathes the nerves. It bathes all the nerves. So we want that fluid as vital and potent as it can be. And there's the still point. And now I'm going to go to your right vagus nerve. So I'm connecting to everybody's vagus nerve, which we'll do more tomorrow night. And I'm unwinding the fascia that surrounds the vagus nerve. And then I'm going to floss the nerve inside its fascial coating. There we go. And now we'll do the left, connecting to the top and the bottom. Vagus nerve, as you'll find out tomorrow night, is a big, long nerve. There we go. Excellent. Okay, now I'm doing a disconnect from me to you, and I'm going to disconnect everybody that's connected into the quantum field right now. Send you all back to your bodies. There you go. Now, I'm going to get you to stand up again, and hopefully you feel even heavier into your feet. All right, so stand up. Now, I didn't even do it to myself. I was doing it to you, but since I was connected to that whole system, that field, I got the benefit too. So I'm very balanced. I'm very grounded. Okay. How does it feel? When you get a chance, just let me know. Does anybody feel heavier into their feet? Almost like you've got concrete blocks on your feet. Just put it out there in the chat. I feel like I should play Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. Okay, we got a yes. Thank you, Charlotte. Oh, we got a yes, Katie. Woohoo! Now, Katie, you've had the chance to feel it in clinic. Can you tell me, Katie, does it feel similar to having it done in person? Same with you, Janice. You've had it done in person here in the clinic. I'd love to know if it feels similar to having it done distance as it does when you feel. Oh, yay! Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being my little experimental group. I surely appreciate it. Yes, it's very similar. It may not be quite as intense as it is when it's here in the clinic, but it's still giving you a lot of benefit. Yay! So happy. Hey, it works. Cool. So anyway, folks, that's it for tonight. We'll just finish off with this little, I always try to finish off with a little saying. So an empty lantern provides no light. Self-care is the fuel that allows your light to shine brightly. So what I'm hoping is through these next, well, I think we've got, what, how many left? I can't even count. Maybe, no, we don't have 5 or 6, is it? Yeah, 6, I think. Anyway, we have 6 nights left. And the last night, I just found out I have a conflict, so it might have to be on Sunday. Anyway, I'm trying to work on that, but I might have to move our last night to Sunday. Sorry about that. Bad planning on my part. But anyway, so hopefully you can collect a bunch of these techniques, tips, and tricks to start your own self-care practice towards balancing your nervous system. Okay? Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay? We'll do it together. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow night for Vagus Nerve. Bye-bye.